Field trips to see government in action can be boring. East High School students chose to go to the state capitol in honor of a classmate killed by gun violence. While at the Capitol, we check in on the second effort to give cities the option to have safe injection sites, which includes no longer calling them safe injection sites. Mayoral candidate Robert Tretta believes his experience as a builder makes him uniquely qualified to handle Denver's housing crisis.
I'm going to turn the homeless into homeowners.
It's Friday, so it's time to hear your good news. It's also 303 Day. Even if you don't have a number with one of Colorado's original area codes, us natives are all-inclusive. So let's celebrate. Next. When high school students end up at the state capitol, it's usually because of a required field trip. Hundreds of East High School students made that field trip choice themselves today, lobbying for stronger gun laws in the name of their classmate killed outside the high school last month. Luis Garcia died this week. He was shot on February 13th while in a car in front of East High School, which is just south of Denver's City Park. Today, his classmates and soccer teammates walked out of school and went to the Capitol, along with gun control advocates from Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action. In the week since the shooting, the students went to Denver City Council, and today they went straight to state lawmakers.
We are fed up with having to do this over and over and over again. We've had more days off due to gun violence than we've had snow days.
This session, state lawmakers are set to consider several Democratic-sponsored gun control proposals. They include a 3-day waiting period for all gun purchases and increasing the age to purchase any firearm to 21. We've also reported on a draft of a bill to define assault weapons and then ban the purchase of them, but that bill has yet to be introduced. The debate about overdose prevention sites is back, a place where people would be allowed to bring their drugs and use them with someone nearby ready to help if they overdose. While the idea is familiar, the strategy is different this time around. Anusha Roy joins us, and Anusha, you covered this in 2018, and here it is again, you're covering it.
Yeah, and that's really when we started to realize we need to take a very intense look at the opioid crisis, and honestly, in hindsight, we realized we were too late to the game on this. And in these last 5 years, we've unfortunately seen a record number of people die from overdoses. There have been so many conversations focused on naloxone to reverse an overdose, expanding treatment and the surge of fentanyl and that controversial fentanyl law that passed all in that 5 years. But we always knew that safe use sites, which are now being called overdose prevention sites, would be coming back into the conversation. Some argue it never went away. Here's one of the bill sponsors.
It's taken time to embrace the public health approach that data shows us works. And I'm confident that as we continue in this direction, more and more states and local governments will consider overdose prevention centers.
So essentially, this would be a place where people can come with their drugs and then use them with a trained professional nearby to step in if they overdose. People could also be testing for fentanyl, and then when they are ready, they would be connected to treatment as well.
Okay. 5 years ago versus now, I know there are more Democrats in the state legislature. Right. Is that the only difference, that they now have the bodies that'll get the same thing passed?
No. So what they were trying to do in 2018 was they were trying to authorize one supervised site in Denver. Denver City Council actually gave the okay for that, but then the bill failed, so it never actually went anywhere. That's why we don't see it in the city of Denver. Now what they're trying to do is give the green light to all local municipalities, city councils, saying, hey, you have the green light. If you want to move ahead with this, you're not going to get in trouble with the state, but it's up to you to decide what are the rules, what are the regulations, where does it go? That's right. The big question. The other big thing that we noticed is that there are 36 sponsors this time around versus in 2018 we saw 9.
I mean, that's almost evidence that it's going to pass when you have that many people.
Very different support.
We've seen this before with gun control. The state passed a law that allowed cities to have stricter gun laws if they want, and now we have seen some cities, primarily in Boulder County, utilize that and then get sued. Right. So is this just setting up cities to then do something and get sued?
I think there's one thing that everybody is watching out for, and it's going to be the legal battle with this. I was talking to a legal expert about this, and he said, where this is going to get really interesting is if a city actually moves forward with it, does it conflict with federal laws? And the big question then is going to be, will the feds really come into Colorado and shut it down?
Well, we know there are going to be people with open wallets that will try and go through the courts because they can.
Yeah, and we're hearing a lot of the same arguments against it, the same arguments for it. And what I think is interesting is this time around, we are seeing it in the U.S. already, in New York City. We're going to be revisiting with the folks in Vancouver. They've had a program like this since 2003, and it's a really interesting look at not only how the program works, but also kind of a future glimpse for us at what those legal battles will look like.
And we'll hear about that next week. Thanks, Anusha. The election for Denver's next mayor is 1 month from tomorrow. A poll conducted by 9 News, Colorado Politics, and the Denver Gazette, and MSU Denver shows most voters may need that entire month to figure out who they like. Our poll found the overwhelming frontrunner is undecided, with 58%. The top of the poll, if you can call 5% support the top, are Lisa Calderon, Mike Johnston, and Kelly Bruff. Just behind them, Chris Hansen and Debbie Ortega at 4%. Leslie Herod, Al Gardner, and Thomas Wolfe are at 3%. When we asked Denver voters what they think is most important to address in the next few years, the results were more clear. The voters we polled could pick more than one issue as most important. 57% said crime. 52% homelessness, and 50% said affordable housing. The fourth most important issue is education at 46%. But Denver's mayor has no power over Denver Public Schools. DPS is run by a school board that hires its own superintendent. What can a mayor do? I asked Van Scholes, who used to be the president of A+ Colorado, a nonprofit that advocated for making schools better.
They can use their bully pulpit to influence school board races and the superintendent. And there are a number of places in which the city can either collaborate with the school district or not, as it relates to, for instance, school resource officers and police, which is a big issue now. Also, in terms of rec centers and after school and before school activities.
9 News is hosting a second debate in the race for Denver mayor on March 14th. Based on the criteria that was announced prior to the poll, the candidates who qualified happen to be the ones who finished with 2% or more support. You can see those 11 candidates on the screen, 11 out of 17. With 3 out of 5 Denver voters still undecided, please tune in and make a choice, and above all else, vote. One court case down for former Republican Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters. A jury on the Western Slope returned a split verdict today. This was the obstruction case that involved an iPad in a bagel shop. This was not the case where she's accused of tampering with her county's election equipment. Jurors found Peters guilty of obstructing government operations for refusing to give police an iPad that prosecutors said she used to videotape a court hearing, which was not allowed. Peters was detained, and cell phone video showed her attempting to kick an officer. That resulted in another obstruction charge, but the jury acquitted her of that. Peters still faces felony charges, accused of tampering with Mesa County election equipment in an attempt to show proof of election fraud. Her claims remain unproven. She's still campaigning on unproven election fraud to win votes to become Republican Party chairwoman. That election is next Saturday. Since Wednesday, you have raised more than $15,000 to make sure single working mothers have access to working transportation. Here's Kyle with more on this week's Word of Thanks.
You know how car trouble works. Often pops up when you can least afford it. There's a nonprofit in the Denver metro area determined to keep those unexpected car repairs from becoming a crisis for single moms and their kids. This week, your Word of Thanks microgiving campaign has raised more than $10,000 for Hands of the Carpenter. Hands makes sure that working single mothers with children have access to reliable transportation, whether that is providing a car, fixing a car they have, or teaching women the skills they need to maintain their own vehicle, all for a fee that's affordable for each family. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of others in donating. Hands make sure that families working hard to get where they want to go, to work, to school, can get there.
More officers on the street is what Robert Tretta wants if he becomes Denver mayor.
Denver police have a recruitment problem.
Our series of conversations with all 17 candidates continues tonight. And there is another nonprofit that raffles off a home, except this one actually raffles off the home. What makes this one different? Next. Our Our next conversation is with a candidate for Denver mayor who wants to literally take the city's housing crisis into his own hands. Robert Tretta owns and operates a construction company. He says he wants to personally oversee construction of thousands of new tiny homes for people experiencing homelessness. He's also among the candidates who will enforce the camping ban. As he explained to Kyle, that is also part of his plan to address crime.
What do you think about the conversations around crime in this race? Do you think they're overblown? Do you think that they're well-founded? And what would you do as mayor to address crime?
Well, I think you take care of the homeless and you take care of a lot of things. You take care of affordable housing. You take care of a lot of things. You send less homeless people onto the streets. Naturally, you start to, the byproducts of not having homeless people on the streets is, you're going to start eliminating a lot of these things naturally. Crime is one of them. Housing, being unstable in your housing situation breeds domestic violence, crime. There's so many things. The list goes on and on and on. And I think, you have to back up the train and figure out what went wrong. A lot of these candidates won't even tell you what went wrong because they don't know what went wrong. Now they say they're going to fix it. I'm not buying it.
So Denver police have an authorized strength of about 1,600 officers. They're short several hundred officers that they're trying to hire.
Yeah.
Do you think that we need to enlarge the force strength beyond the 1,600, just hire back up to that number, have fewer police? What do you think?
I think more. More
than the 1,600?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think we can also be doing a lot better job and not focusing so much on hiring a diverse police force. Our safety should come before anything. I have a feeling that there's certain things getting in the way of, Denver police have a recruitment problem. And they also want to recruit a very diverse police force. I get it. I agree with it, but not in front of our safety.
Kyle's 10-minute conversation with Robert Tretta also takes a closer look at the plan to build 7,000 housing units for the unhoused. Full interviews with several mayoral candidates are available on the next YouTube channel at 9news.com.
We got a quick break from the snow, and now it's back. Storm system scooting across Colorado as we speak. Looking at some light snowfall in and around the tunnels tonight. Everyone heading up to the high country for a weekend of skiing and fun. As we look on the radar, the heaviest bands of snow have actually already crossed the I-25 corridor and now pushing off to the eastern plains. You can see in and around Fort Morgan, stretching along I-76, I-70, kind of getting in on the action. But for many of us here around the urban corridor, saw a couple of light little rain showers, a few snow flurries, and it's out of here. We'll be watching those snow bands pushing out overnight. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to a mix of sun and clouds here in the city. Clouds, however, increasing up into the high country throughout much of the day. And then late tomorrow night, here we go again, another storm system on the horizon. So much so that we have more winter weather advisories that will go into effect late tomorrow night in and around Rabbit Ears Pass, looking at potentially 8 to 14 inches out there. Rocky Mountain National Park, 6 to 12 for the park. The Elkhead Mountains, Flat Tops, 5 to 10. The storm system barrels right on in on the heels of tonight's storm. So we get a brief break here in eastern Colorado. We will not see any of that moisture. If anything, just some gusty winds. Tomorrow, once again, a seasonal day with 30s up in the mountains, 40s here in the metro, a windy and warm Sunday, and then the cool off comes and another round of snow for much of next week.
I want to know more.
Later this week. It's later this week, so let's answer the question. How come two nonprofits have fundraising raffles to give away a home, but only one gives away a home? And we never end the week without finding something to smile about.
My good news is this week I got a girlfriend.
We ask our favorite Friday question next. It's later this week, so let's answer the question. How come two nonprofits have fundraising raffles to give away a home, but only one gives away a home? And I was just reading the tease from before because I hadn't scrolled up yet, but it's still the same thing. There are multiple nonprofits raffling off a home. And earlier this week, we told you the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Denver has held a raffle to give away a home for 14 years and has never given away a home. Children's Hospital Colorado Foundation has a similar raffle and has given away a home for 8 straight years. Our next question comes from Kyle in Denver.
I want to learn more about why one raffle says they're giving away the home every year and the other one has never given away a home.
Children's Hospital Colorado Mighty Millions raffle is already 50% sold. You could win the $3 million grand prize show home.
The Mighty Millions raffle, benefiting the nonprofit arm of Children's Hospital Colorado, is different than the raffle we talked about earlier this week.
The Mile High raffle is back.
The Mile High raffle is for the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Denver. If fewer than 80,000 tickets are sold, the Boys and Girls Club does not give away a home, but it does give away cash as the grand prize. In 14 years, the Boys and Girls Club has never given away a home as the grand prize because it has never sold 80,000 tickets. A spokeswoman for the nonprofit told me the highest number of tickets sold is more than 80%, so roughly 64,000 tickets. The Boys and Girls Club raffle has given away $20 million in cash and prizes, just no home. So what happens to the home? The Boys and Girls Club has an agreement to buy the home if enough tickets are sold, so the nonprofit just never buys the home.
Awarded, fully furnished, professionally decorated, and landscaped.
So how is it that Children's Hospital Colorado Foundation can give away its home every year for the last 8 years? It's because the home and all other prizes are bought by the nonprofit and awarded regardless of how many tickets are sold. In 2015, the nonprofit sold 79,000 tickets. The most ever sold was 148,000 tickets in 2021. I know there's another question out there. So you win a house, who can afford the tax hit and the property taxes? The Mighty Millions raffle by Children's Hospital Colorado Foundation includes bonus cash that goes straight to the IRS on the winner's behalf. It's supposed to cover the immediate IRS hit for winning the prize and the taxes on that bonus cash prize. I'm sure I'll get feedback about that, but we versus us. What's going on with that next? The state capitol is already full of elephants and donkeys. Denver Zoo thought, why not some more? And we thought, why not go there for some good news?
Today is Zoo Day at the Capitol, and this is an opportunity for the zoo staff and some of our animal ambassadors to come and engage with state legislators and just share all of the great work we do here in Colorado and around the world. My personal good news is tomorrow we're taking the ski train up to Winter Park with my two daughters, May and Rosie, and this will be their second day skiing, so we're hopeful that they love it.
That is a porcupine. My good news is this week I got a girlfriend and I got to meet Governor Polis.
My good news today is anytime I can come out and share my animals with everybody, including the public.
I am turning 70 tomorrow.
My good news is that I've met my fundraising goal for the Chicago Marathon, so I'll be officially running on October 8th.
Hi Camilla, it's your boyfriend Caleb.
My good news is I woke up today.
My good news was that I saw my old elementary school today, and I haven't seen that school in a long time, and I think I saw some people that I knew.
My good news is that I had my conference yesterday for school, and I got 100%.
Being here, getting to share our mission and all of our awesome creatures with our legislators this morning is great news.
Just in case somebody missed it. Good morning. Good morning.
I once did career day at an elementary school next to a sloth from the Denver Zoo. No one cared about being a journalist that day. Your feedback from Donna. She had a keen ear. She heard me say us natives at the beginning. She says I should have said we Coloradans. What I should have done was just not insult anybody who's not naturally from Colorado. Like Kyle, who will be here again next week.